Hi, welcome back to Cube Entertainment, where we continue to play Magic the Gathering. And in this video, I'm going to play F&M at home, which is Friday Night Magic. And in this format, it's quite interesting. This week, you start with only 3 cards in your hand, and you don't have to play any lands. You can cast every spell for free. And you basically can just win 2 cards, 1 card for every game. And if you have a local game store, you can share your results, and I think you can get a free promo pack. Unfortunately, I don't have a local game store, so I just get to play online. That's fine. I've played this format once before. It can get quite interesting, but if you or your opponent gets a card whose ability is only dependent on mana, you can pretty much just win quite easily. So we have Scarab Guard at the beginning of the upkeep. Each opponent loses X life, and you scry X the number of zombies you control. Exile target card from your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it. So you can basically yeah, this is the card I'm talking about, Turgid's Lantern. Actually, I cast the wrong one. What is this card? President is battlefield target other creature planeswalker mind controls. So basically, you can play this. Opponent loses 3 life. You untap it. Opponent, yeah, I think they know. This is a bit silly in this format. So because we have unlimited mana, essentially, we can tap it. Target opponent loses 3 life, or they can discard a card, but they only have 3, and then we untap the lantern and do it again and untap it. So this card should just be removed from this format when they have this. Either way, that was a quick win. So we get a rare card, Yadara Wandering Monster. It's a 7 mana 8/8 with trample and haste. When you cycle it, shuffle it into your library from your graveyard. If you've shuffled basically this card 4 or more times this game, put it into the battlefield from your graveyard. Wow! So if you maybe have 4 of this in your deck, and you can shuffle it 4 times, shuffle it into your library. Shuffle it into your library. Wow. Okay. That's quite a card. So basically you cycle that card, and if you cycle it 4 times, it goes to the battlefield. So if you don't have the mana, it's quite a card. But even a card like that can get exiled quite easily. So let's see, Daxos. Another creature you control enters the battlefield or dies, you gain 1 life. Counter target activated ability, triggered ability or legendary spell. And a Crackle Drake. Its power is equal to the number of instant cards you own in exile. I think I'll take a mulligan, get a free one. Shadow Spear. Turgid's Lantern. Again, it's just... I feel like that's cheating. Let's see if the opponent realizes what's going on. The other opponent knew straight away. I'm going to destroy it. I don't think that's fair. That's just silly. That's just ridiculous. Turgid's Lantern. They play Nicol Bolas. As loyalty, but you draw a card. Each opponent exiles a card from their hand or permanent they control. Destroy target creature or planeswalker.
God, once again.
You may draw a card. Each opponent exiles a card from their hand or permanent they control. Oh, okay. Get rid of the Shadow Spear.
Witness a mote of my power.
Wow, they get a Gigantosaurus. And Timur chosen from the dead. Exile the 2 target cards from graveyard. You gain 1 life for each creature card exiled this way. You may spend mana to draw a card for each color among permanents you control. So basically this gives them mana and they can draw cards. So their turn should be over. What's going on? So having this card could, like on a normal game, could fix your mana problems. So creatures you control that are enchanted have double strike. At the beginning of each combat, you may attach target or equipped creature gets +2 in vigilance and dies return it to its owner's hand. Neither of these are particularly spectacular. And the opponent's just going to exile make us exile a permanent. Or they can destroy target thing. I think the opponent's probably reading the text as well. So the opponent can just do this every turn. Not really no point attacking with this. They have a Gigantosaurus. Luckily it doesn't have trample. They play a poor forest bronze blooded. As long as your devotion to red is less than 5, it isn't a creature. Other creatures you control have haste. You may put a red creature card or artifact from your hand onto the battlefield. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next step. Ooh. That they may put a permanent card from their hand onto the battle. Okay, we don't have a permanent card in our hand. Okay, the opponent is just playing everything. So they can just attack with both of these because their creatures have haste because of something. I'm sure they had something that that said creatures have haste. Other creatures you control have haste. So they should just attack now. Okay, the opponent should click next. I'll count to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Not sure why the opponent was still trying to think what else they could play. Maybe I don't know. This format is a bit silly. Getting Tigrid's Lantern was a bit ridiculous, to be honest. I didn't think it was fair to just win, but okay. Grados for Melos. The opponent. Okay, let's see. What do we have? Heliod, the Locust Guard. Whenever you draw a card, create a 1/1 blue and red insect creature token with flying and haste. And then for 4 mana, you can draw a card, then discard a card. When the Locust Guard dies, return it to its owner's hand. Sorry, that looks fine. I'll keep it. And Clothis. As long as your devotion to red and green is less than 7, this thing isn't a creature. So let's play that. And play that. We can pretty much just play this infinitely then. Draw a card, discard a card. And create little flying things. But I mean, well, not infinite. We only have so many cards. Exile up to 2 cards from graveyard, you gain life. So, I think I'll exile that card. Let's play Heliod. And we'll say, end the turn. Okay, they turn our Locust God into a thing, into a elk. I mean, we could have just triggered this a bunch of times to create 1/1 flying fairy things, but that would have been a bit silly. At the beginning of your pre-con, so this, what does this do? Other creatures you can let lifelink until end of turn. They get an Arcanist Owl. That's only a uncommon card. I thought for some reason everything is either mythic or rare, but it seems not. So we can give other creatures lifelink. Enchant creature can't attack or block. Okay. And they can flash it in. Ooh. Choosing each player discards a card, each player loses 1 life and draws a card, each player sacrifices a creature. But at least they have to do it too, so that's okay. We can give everything lifelink, I think. I guess not. I'm not sure how this works. I'm not sure why we couldn't cast this again, but I put the life counter on the wrong thing. I wanted to put it on the insect to gain the to trigger the ability to trigger the ability to put 1/1 on the Locust. Exile the Northern card, it was land card. So at the beginning of a pre-combat main phase, exile target card from a graveyard. And then if we can exile non-land cards, we can do 2 damage to each opponent. So this will let us draw cards at least. Cards help. So this is just ridiculous. Another Turgid's Lantern. Though they have lots of things they can sacrifice, so this might take a while. But if the opponent realizes what's going on, they probably will just abandon the game. We'll play Renata. Not sure why we can't play this again. In previous game could play this many times. Maybe I'm not quite sure how this works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, they banish it, but I think I can. I think I can just keep doing this. I'm sure they're going to. No, they don't banish the lantern. Look at the top 6 cards of the library. Wow. Oh, so I get it. You can basically get all this mana once every turn, and cards from your hand you can cast without paying the mana cost. Not quite infinite mana. But this is still a busted card to get in this format. So let's see, they will have each player discards a card, and or each player loses 1 life and draws a card, and or each player sacrifices a creature. Okay, we get a counter spell. Counter target spell and scry 2. Okay, so Toralf, God of Fury. Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess damage, it deals damage to another target, or equip it to something in unattached rolls. It deals 3 damage to any target. Deals hammer to its owner's hand. Equipped creature gets +3 as long as it's legendary. So I don't quite see what the other thing is. I think we can play this for free. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm doing this wrong. Let's Tergrid Lantern the opponent. Can we block? Let's attack with both. One of them will get through. So if we can untap this in the opponent's turn, that's 3 more damage. Oh, that did damage to us. They are going to deal 5 damage to target opponent, to target creature. That's not really something I want to counter. I think there's worse things. So we can't counter that, it's an ability. But maybe they find something and then they want to play it. And we can counter that. And scry too. So they have the same as this thing. Not sure it's the greatest thing. But we'll cancel it anyway. Maybe I'm just using it wrong. Okay, the opponent decided to exile. What did we? Scry, exile, target non-land permanent, and await Weatherlight. In combat damage, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a historic card wrongly and put it in your hand. That's quite cool. I think I'll just play one more. This is definitely an interesting format. We get Atros, Oracle of Half-Truths. When Atros enters the battlefield, target opponent looks at the top 3 cards of your library and separates them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. Put one pile into your hand and the other in your graveyard. Okay. So now, if you win, we don't get more cards. But it's just an interesting format. I'll play a few more games, probably. Maybe just 1 or 2. Because they can go on for quite some time. Okay, we get a sword point. Diplomacy. Reveal the top 3 cards of your library. For each of those cards, put that card into your hand unless an opponent pays 3 life. Then exile the rest. Rune of Speed. Creatures get +1 in haste. And another enchantment. I'll take a free mulligan. Target spell can't be countered. Permanent you control. So just a bunch of instant spells. I think I'll take a mulligan again. This was silly. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an enchantment. And a mammoth. When grade dies, grade 2 white tokens. I think I'll keep the mammoth. And we'll draw cards. Then discard 2. So this is a Tusky, Skyclave Apparition, non-token permanent you didn't control with converted mana cost 4 less. So that, we'll get rid of that. This is indestructible 2. Discard those, and we'll play this thing. It says it can't attack or block unless you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, which is the case. We can already attack. And it has the ability of discard a card and it deals 2 damage to each opponent. So if we get cards we don't like, we can discard them. Okay, so this will let them create zombie tokens. They get a prismatic bridge. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or planeswalker. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest, wow, on the bottom of the on your library. So they get to put a creature on the battlefield every turn. Unless we do that. So at the beginning of your combat, you may exile a creature card. This one, I'll say no to that and no to that. Wow, that saved us. This complete nonsense, this format. I mean, the opponent gets cards that completely win the game, and then we top deck a Crush Contraband to sort of save us a little bit. May cost from your graveyard without paying its mana costs. And then when an instant sorcery card, okay, that was, so they got to play, draw cards twice. Divination. But they have a bit of a problem. We have 2 very big creatures. One is indestructible. They get an indestructible Death Touch creature. Another target creature gets +2 and gains indestructible. So they have a flying creature, which is a bit of a problem. We can block their indestructible with our indestructible. But we can't block their flying creature. But maybe we top deck Exile spell. Okay, they get one. Secure Scene. Exile target on permanent. Okay. We got Nicol Bolas, Dragon God. Has all wealthy abilities of all other planewalkers on the battlefield. That's quite interesting. Okay, you draw a card. Each opponent exiles a card from their hand or a permanent they control. That's nice. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Each opponent who doesn't control a legend loses the game. That's insane. So I guess we could either destroy one of these or we could draw a card. Creature or planeswalker. So, I mean, this might not survive more than 1 turn. I want to draw a card. So let's get rid of the indestructible creature. Because they will just attack this this turn. It's a planeswalker. It says destroy, not exile. Oh my goodness, that was bad. My bad. I didn't read that. It says destroy and this is indestructible, so... Oops. So they draw a card. Phyrexian Rager. My goodness. Okay, they exile our 6/6. They play another Death Touch thing. Yep, and they attack for a ton. We'll block with the 1/1. Okay, Sigrid God Favor. Does this do anything? Protection from God creatures. That's a god. That's a god. Does it have flying? No. When Sigrid God enters the battlefield, exile up to one target attacking or blocking creature until it leaves the battlefield. So we can flash it in. Draw a card. Each opponent exiles. That could be something. So we can look at the top 4 cards and reveal an artifact or enchantment and put it into our hand. Basically means we can play it. We only get Kenneth Transformation. That is brilliant. So we can either put it on the indestructible thing or on the flying thing. Well, the flying thing's the only thing we can't stop at all. And we get to draw a card. So our thing has protection from god creatures, so we can potentially block their god. But this one we can't. We need a way to deal with, and now they've sort of cancelled our. Okay, and we can exile something. So again, there's still a flying creature and the indestructible creature. I think I'll exile the indestructible creature because maybe we get something to deal with the flying creature. So we can put this in the library or graveyard. Can't attack or block unless a creature died under your control this turn. Sacrifice another creature, scry one each opponent. So we'll put that in the graveyard. Doesn't look like it's going to help us. So we can flash this in if they attack. Potentially kill this. Or just block the damage from this. Okay, they go for the Planeswalker. Exile to on target. Oh wow, and we get to exile something. So let's exile. I think yeah, that's a tough one. The flying creature. And we can block this one. We'll take 5 damage. Maybe we draw something on our turn to deal with the Death Touch creature. Okay, they get back their flying. Do they have something they can cast from there? Okay, they kill our Planeswalker. So feel like we're back to page 1. Destroy target opponent exiles a creature they control. Target opponent reveals their hand. So they have to exile a creature. Hope they exile the flying thing. We can do 1 damage. No. So they put that. So we won't attack. So we have basically 2 turns. I mean, 1 more turn. To hopefully draw a card that can deal with this flying creature. And whatever the opponent will play next. Whenever a creature with a -1 counter on a dice, draw a card. Put a -1 counter on another target creature. Okay. So they get to draw another card. Do we have something that can help us? When this thing attacks, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Return that creature to your hand. When it dies or is put into exile, you may put it into its owner's, same as the thing. So that will be a good game. I think there's nothing. They'll have flying, so that's more likely the end. Yeah, that is good game indeed. Let's eat a fish. I'll bet someone at least get some. Let's make him green. Why not? Oh, actually, he's black. Not green, just green bowl of soup. So that's Friday Night Magic. Some ridiculous formats. It changes every time. So sometimes it's you bring your own deck. Sometimes it's like this. But what is this button? Not sure what that is. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. It was certainly interesting. And we'll see you in the next video.